beauty babes, welcome to my channel. I am Maria, aka agapelovegirl. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm back with another top 5 type of video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my top 5 favorite concealers. Concealers especially for dark circles. To be the most helpful, I actually filmed a demo, like swatches, putting the concealer over my eyes so you can really see how it looks in comparison to from one side to the other, how well it covers and all that. It'll be a demo. You'll see all of the concealers I mentioned in action so you can really see what I'm talking about as I'm talking about them. The other thing is that I'm going to be sharing my top 5 favorites. But as per usual with me, it's just says never seems to be enough for 5. So I do have 2 honorable mentions I will be talking about as well. In addition to that, I'm also going to be talking about a couple concealers that I would like to try that I haven't tried. So I have tried a ton of concealers, just to preface this, because I have very dark under eye circles. So I'm always on the search for like the holy grail of mascaras, of concealers. Sorry, my brain is like, I'm always on the search for the holy grail of concealers to conceal my dark under eye circles, and of the ones I'm talking about, these are among my favorite, both very affordable prices and higher prices. Of course, I do have my favorites, which you guys probably already know what they are because they're the ones I use all the time. But some of these are ones that I haven't used in a long time, or that I might not even have shown on my camera, but that have been old time favorites. And so I don't want you to think just because I don't feature them doesn't mean I don't like them or they're not really that good. These are products that are tried and true favorites of mine, products that I know work really well and that I really love and have used several times, have used up and pre-purchased a couple times. So I really know what I'm talking about when it comes to these concealers. It's just that some of them I prefer more than others because some are more favorites than others, or if they're new, I will use those more than others, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to let you guys know that so you don't think just because like, oh, she's never featured this on our channel that she, you know, how do we know she's really used it or loved it? I mean, I use tons of products in my everyday life, but I only film 1 day a week. So I mean, there's only so many products you're going to see me feature. And obviously I do prefer some more than others, but that doesn't mean I don't use a variety. And so there are a lot of concealers that I think are really great that I would say I could easily say I love, but when I had to narrow it down, these were the best of the best, my absolute favorites that I love and would really recommend, especially if you need good coverage for your dark circles like I do. So, oh, also just to let you guys know, I am going to be applying all these concealers the exact same way. I'm going to be using my Makeup Bullet finger sponges. I have 3 of them. I have 6 concealers, well 7 technically concealers, and so I'm going to be using one, you know, front and back, so I'm not mixing concealers with the applicator. It'll be using the front side with one concealer and then the back side of the sponge with another concealer, and then switch to a new sponge and stuff like that. And then to wipe in between, I'm going to be using the It Cosmetics Bye Bye Makeup Wipes. I don't know if that really matters to you guys, but that's just what I'm going to be doing. And yeah, let's go ahead and just get into it. This intro was long enough. The first one I'm going to tell you about is I'm just going to get it out of the way because you guys probably already know. It's like everyone's favorite concealer, and for good reasons, but I had to throw it in there because you guys know it is just a favorite. It is the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. So I know people are probably sick of hearing about Tarte Shape Tape, but it just really is that good. I also think it's a really good deal. I mean, it's not one of the most affordable products, but this is one of the concealers that you get the most amount of product for. You get 0.33 ounces and it is $27, and it's just so long lasting considering you don't have to use a lot of product. It will last you so long. And for reference, if anybody is curious, I'm in the shade Light. I am almost out of this. I do want to repurchase. I actually had attempted to repurchase, but I accidentally got the wrong shade. I got the shade Fair instead of the shade Light. It is definitely way too fair for me, so I passed it down to my daughter, and my daughter actually loves this concealer too, so I will have to repurchase probably again because I do love this concealer, but I may not repurchase just because there's other ones I would like to try, so we shall see. But I do think it's repurchase worthy, just saying. Shape Tape. I mean, do I even have to say? You can just see, you barely need any, and it seems like even when I try to put a little bit, it's always more than enough, and it the coverage is like, I mean, this is like the most full coverage concealer. It's no wonder it became my favorite, my go-to. I mean, the coverage, if you're really looking to cover dark circles, this one does it. I also love that while this is a very full coverage concealer and it is a heavier concealer, I would say, it doesn't feel super heavy on the skin. I still feel like it blends out really lightweight. I know that might seem weird, but it does. And this one is also one that doesn't super get creasy in my fine lines, hardly at all, like just the tiniest amount. I don't think you could even see, but it's just, it's so good. It's a reason why this is like everyone's favorite. It's just, it is so good. I mean, also it's a large tube. There is so much product. A little bit goes a long way. So while this is more of a very expensive concealer, it's gonna be so long lasting. Like, I've had this more than a year now. I want to say I'm closing in on 2 years, even though I'm looking right now at the expiration. It says 6 months, but I mean it's still working for me. So I just love it. I just have to say it's like the best, or one of the best concealers I've ever used, especially for my dark under eye circles, and it's just a favorite. I mean, it's Tarte Shape Tape. What else is there to say? Alright, moving on now to a concealer that is on the more affordable side. And this one is the LA Girl Pro Concealer. These are so good. For anyone who is curious, I use the shade Creamy Beige. I feel like it's not great of a match for me anymore, but I don't know. And I have these two, like, and they're pretty much almost gone. You can see how much I've used them. I use these ones more in the summer just because of how much more lightweight they are. But these are $4.99, or basically $5 concealers. You get 0.28 ounces in them, and a lot of people rave about this concealer too. I don't know, haven't heard about them as much anymore as they used to be, like all the rage, all you heard beauty influencers talking about. I don't hear them as much anymore, but they are still really good concealer, very affordable concealer that, you know, get the job done. Now, what I really like about the LA Girl Pro concealers is that they are just so lightweight, and I really love the way they dry down. They don't dry down dewy or heavy at all. I feel like they dry down so well. They almost don't need to be set, which I like that. I'm always going to be someone who sets my concealer because I usually like most of the ones I like are a little bit thicker. Like this Tarte Shape Tape is so thick, I just feel like it just should be set. But this one's just so thin and dries. It's more of a drier formula, which I know not everyone will like, but I like that. And it just, I don't know, I just like that it dries down almost like, I say this about some things where I swear it's not really accurate, but to me it feels like a cream or liquid to powder kind of feel. I like that about this. And obviously, as you can see, it has really great coverage. I think it does a really amazing job with my dark circles. Also, I really like the other concealers that they have that are the color correctors. Like, I have the yellow one and the orange one that I tend to mix together if I want to color correct my dark circles before applying a concealer. And those do a really great job. Now, I don't like the yellow one on its own because I don't feel like it corrects enough, but the orange one is just a little bit too intense. So often when I do color correct my dark circles, I will just mix a little bit of them together to get a nice peachy color. And like I said, because this is such a thinner formula, such a lightweight formula, I can do that, and it doesn't get too heavy to where I have both of those on there and then another concealer on top. It's not like a ton of product. It doesn't feel like a ton of product on my eyes. It's just very lightweight and does a really amazing job. Of course, it's such an affordable product. I think that's why these concealers are so well loved in the beauty community and so well raved about, because they're affordable but work so well. Alright, moving on to a higher end concealer. I keep doing that, sorry. Concealer. This is the Naked Skin concealer. I wear the shade Light Warm for reference, and I was super close to making this one the honorable mention because I don't use it as often anymore, but I thought, you know, no, this cannot be an honorable mention. This is a favorite even though I don't use it as much anymore, because when I first discovered this replaced every concealer I used. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. This is my third bottle of this. I've purchased it twice on my own. The first two times, this actual new bottle is from in a PR package from Urban Decay, which I was super thankful for. But previously to that, I had bought and used up two of them. I actually just finished up using up the last one I had, and this is the new one that I got in my PR package. But anyways, like I said, I considered making this honorable mention, and I was like, no, this can't be. This is a favorite. It is so good. I know it's pricey. It is a $29 concealer, and you're only getting 0.16 ounces, 0.16 ounces, so you're not getting a lot, but I do feel like it lasts quite a long time. It's not as thick of a concealer as, say, like Tarte Shape Tape. It's not going to probably last as long as that, but it is an amazing concealer. And before Tarte Shape Tape, this was my holy grail concealer. I love it for lots of reasons that I'm probably going to say that I already said earlier, so let's go ahead and just get into that. Alright, so the Naked Skin Concealer. Oh my goodness. This was a huge favorite before Shape Tape. It was one that I just fell in love with. Obviously the coverage, which kind of goes without saying for all of these. That's a big reason why all of these are my favorite that I'm mentioning. But this one, it was just like revolutionary for me because it was like such good coverage as well as so lightweight. And there are others that I'm mentioning here today that are extremely lightweight as well, but this one is probably the most lightweight with the most coverage. Like, it has the best coverage with being the most lightweight, if that makes sense. I mean, all of these have great coverage. Several of these are really lightweight and really good, but this one just like would be the best out of them all of the lightweight category ones, I guess I'm saying. And that is, in a sense, like, all of these concealers do somewhat get into the fine lines under my eyes and will have a little bit, I don't want to say creasing or caking because I don't find these ones to be super creasy or cakey, but they will have just a slight amount of that in my fine lines. This one, literally, I don't know if you guys can tell from the close-ups or not, but I just want to tell you, literally no residue, no buildup whatsoever in my fine lines at all. It is just so, it just goes on and doesn't even look like I have anything on my face. It literally looks just like my skin, which is why this is so perfectly named. It's the Naked Skin Concealer. It's a weightless, complete coverage concealer. All of that, absolutely true. It is like, you can't tell that I'm wearing concealer except for the fact that it is concealing my dark circles. And I find that to be amazing. It's just so good. What can I say more about it? It is so worth it. I love this concealer. Alright, next up, I'm not going to move on to a more affordable option just yet because I feel like these ones just kind of go hand in hand. And this concealer is the reason why I was considering making the Naked Skin Concealer an honorable mention, because this was going to replace it for my new favorite. But I thought, you know what, no, both of them were just as good, but for different reasons. Both of them I love like just as much, and I felt like maybe they should be the same, or one should be an honorable mention and one should be a favorite, but it's just like, no, they're both favorites. They're both good, and I kind of feel bad because this one is even more expensive if you're thinking about price per like ounce or whatever, because this is the Urban Decay All Nighter Concealer. This is again $29, same as the Naked Skin Concealer, except for you're only getting 0.12 ounces. So it's like, it's kind of insane. You're getting less ounces, you're still paying the same amount as the Naked Skin, but you definitely are getting better coverage with this. Like, you'll see in the demo, and I even mentioned it, I felt like my skin looks just perfect with this concealer. And I'm sorry because it is so expensive, so I know it might be out of people's price range, but it's just, I can't help it. It's a favorite. It is so, so good. I definitely would recommend it if you can justify or afford that price for that amount of product, because I know it's kind of ridiculous. It sucks, but it's good. Now the shade I'm using in the demo I believe is medium light warm, but I typically kind of go back and forth between that shade and then light warm. So I do have 2 of these. I did also receive these as PR, but I definitely would, these would be concealers I would recommend and purchase myself because they are just really that good. All right, the Urban Decay All Nighter Concealer. This one, it is so good. I hate that I like this so much because it is so expensive and you get less product, but the coverage is just so good, and it's very similar to like the Naked Skin in the sense that it really doesn't get much into the fine lines. It does get in there a little bit, but like literally not much. It also dries down really well, like doesn't necessarily need to be set. It is a drier formula, but again, I like that. It's just, as you saw in the demo, like just it goes on and literally I feel like makes my skin look perfect. My under eyes look perfect, I guess I should say. Up close, because it is a little bit more dry, once it fully dries down, I feel like can age your skin a little bit if you're not careful. I guess I don't want to even say if you're not careful. It's just that it's a dry formula. That being said, I don't care. I still really love it. I think it makes my under eyes look amazing, and the fact that it's waterproof is like just the best bonus of all, because I've said this before, but I have worn this and actually cried, not like trying to test it out. It just happened to be a day I was really emotional, cried, wasn't thinking about my makeup, but later in the day went back, looked at my face, and was in shock and awe that my makeup was still intact, that my under eyes were still intact. It blew me away. And from then on, I've been like, wow, I'm so impressed by this concealer. So that alone kind of wins me over, but also the coverage is just so stinking good. It's just so, I mean, you guys can see, I feel like it just looks amazing. It is so, so good. I'm sorry, I know it's expensive, but I love it. It's a favorite. What can I say? Alright, moving on to one that's a little bit more affordable for you guys. And this is one where I felt like I had to make that disclaimer in the beginning about, because I don't think I've ever featured this on my channel at all. I might have maybe in the first year or so, but I don't feel like I did, because I felt like when I did my videos in the beginning of the year, I mostly did eye tutorials. I never showed the products I use on my face, I don't think. I didn't start doing that until, I don't know, 2 years into my channel, I believe, where I actually started showing face products. But this is an old school favorite. This is one that I used before I got into YouTube, before I learned about higher end brands, when all I can afford and all I got was drugstore products. It is so, so good. I know this has been raved about a lot on YouTube as well, but for good reason. And even I knew about it before YouTube, so it would have been one I probably would have still been using had I not discovered other products and started YouTube. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but anyways, this is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser, Dark Circle Eraser, and it is so good. I did buy this again just for the sake of this video so I could demo it, because I hadn't used it in a long time. I hadn't purchased a drugstore concealer in a long time, just because I purchased other high-end ones or received some as PR, as I mentioned earlier. But I wanted to repurchase it again and test it out, so I've had it for a little bit and been testing it out again just to refresh my memory on my thoughts on it, to see if it was still as good as I remembered it being, and it absolutely is. This is a $9.99 concealer, so it's a $10 concealer. You are getting 0.2 ounces of product in it. I do feel like it lasts a long time as well. It's a really good coverage. I think I'm going to say this in my demo, so I'm not going to talk more about it, but it's an affordable option that does it's amazing. It's really great for your under eye dark circles. Alright, so the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Dark Circle Eraser, I would say, I'm just gonna say it, I really think that this is dupeable for Shape Tape, and I wouldn't have realized that originally, and I only am kind of now realizing that because it's been so long since I've used this one, but now using it, it's like, it really is a really close dupe. I can't say like ingredient wise, but just coverage wise and what it's doing, I would say it's very, very comparable. Now with this one, I am getting quite a bit more creasing or settling into my fine lines. Again, I don't know how well this shows up on the video. I'm trying to do close-ups, but this one definitely settles into my fine lines a bit more than Shape Tape, and I feel like that's just because this one is a little bit more creamier, a little bit more maybe moisturizing, whereas Shape Tape is a lot more of a drier formula, which I kind of prefer. But this obviously is more affordable. You still get a good amount of product, and the coverage is really great. It's really lightweight. I just really like this one. I'm glad I repurchased it, even though I did just for this video, because I hadn't used it in so long, but it was such a favorite for so long until I tried kind of other products. But going back to it, my opinion hasn't changed. It's so good. But definitely this is one that needs to be set for sure. Alright, so that was it for my top 5, 11 to 10, my top 5 absolutely favorite concealers for dark circles. And like I said, I do have 2 honorable mentions because these are products that are really great, and I would say they are favorites, but they just didn't quite make the cut above some of the other ones for my top 5. So they're within the top 10, they're in the top 7. And so I'm gonna move on to one that is really affordable, and this is the e.l.f. HD Lifting Concealer. This is a $3 concealer, and you are getting, I had to look it up, so that's why I'm looking down, 0.22 ounces of product in it. And this is one that I do believe I have used on my channel. It's one that I used to use a lot in the beginning as well, aside from the Maybelline one. I actually they used to have one that was like a brightening, it was a yellow based concealer. They don't have it anymore, but that's the one I actually used to use a lot more, and I loved that one. I don't know why they stopped making that one and selling that one, but I really loved that. Anyways, this one came back into my life when I received a package from my friend Carol with some e.l.f. stuff that she had wanted to gift to me, and she said she loved this concealer, and when I used it I was like, oh yeah, I love this concealer too. I forgot I used to use it all the time. It was really great, and so there's no reason why this necessarily wasn't in my top 5 compared to other ones. It's just that, I don't know, when I think about like my favorite concealers that I've used more, it's just the other ones I used, I feel like I reach for more, like a little bit more for whatever reason I can't even really explain. But this is just as good, and it's only $3, so it's like insanely affordable. And so I really recommend it. If you're shopping on a budget and you want a really good concealer, this truly is a really amazing concealer, especially for the price. So what I really love about the e.l.f. concealer is that it's a really lightweight concealer. As you can see, I mean, it covers really well. I wouldn't say it's the best for dark circles, but I mean, it does a really great job, and it's just really easy to use, very lightweight, easy to blend, doesn't get super like creasy because it is so lightweight, like a lot of these foundation, or like a lot of these concealers that I like. But yeah, I just think it's really worth mentioning. I love that it's such a great affordable price, but really a really great concealer. So definitely worth being mentioned, and definitely worth giving a try if you're looking for a really affordable, great concealer. Alright, and lastly for my honorable mention is a higher end product, and it is the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye. And the one I have today and that I'm going to be demoing is the under eye, or the illumination one. I'm using the shade medium, but I feel like this goes hand in hand with just the regular one. This just happens to be illumination one, so it's a little bit brighter. So I would say if you normally wear medium shade in the Bye Bye Under Eye, which I do, you can actually go a little bit darker if you wanted with the illumination one, because it is so much brighter. Or if you're really looking for that illumination, then just stick with the same shade in illumination. But they're basically the same product, one just a little bit brighter. So anyways, either one of them I would recommend. Either one of them I really, really like. I do remember that I talked about my reason why I didn't make this a top 5 favorite and why it was an honorable mention. It's not because it's a bad product whatsoever. It's just there's reasons which I will get into, so I'll go ahead and get into that, I guess. Alright, the It Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye Illumination. Now, the only reason this didn't really make it into like the top 5 favorites is not because it's bad, it's not because I don't think it doesn't work well, it's none of that. I think it's great. That's why I make it an honorable mention, because it is a really good concealer. It really does brighten up the under eye. It's a great concealer, but the reason why it's not like a favorite is because of it's just a little bit more work to use. Like, as you can see, you only need like the tiniest little bit, and a little bit goes a long way, which is great, but you really have to work it in, blend it in, because it is so thick, and I'm not really a fan of thicker products. Anything that takes more time to use, not that it takes such a long time, but it does, in my opinion. Like, if I want to hurry up and get ready, I could just easily and quickly, you know, apply any of these other like liquid foundation or concealers and just blend it in super quick. Whereas this one just takes, it needs to be warmed up a little bit. It applies better with your finger. It needs to, like, you know, you gotta kind of emulsify it a little bit with your fingers, warm it up to your skin and blend it over, because if you just try to go over it with like a dry sponge right away, it kind of like, it doesn't move really. And if you go over it with kind of a wet sponge, because this is also a creamy or more moist or more moisturizing product, the wetness, I don't know, just I feel like it competes. I don't think it's like impossible, I'm kind of being dramatic about it, but I just feel like it's not as easy. It just takes a little bit more work than I like want to do on the daily. So it's not that I think it's bad. I don't think it's like that much harder to do. It just is in comparison to the other concealers. Just takes a little bit more work. Also, as I've mentioned throughout this video, I really do prefer drier formulas, concealers that kind of dry down almost on their own and don't necessarily need to be set, but of course I'm going to set them. I just like that they dry down on their own and they won't stay dewy or they won't stay creamy. Some of you guys might prefer a more creamy concealer. Me, I just do not. And this one is just a creamier, more, I hate to say the word, but moist concealer, and so it definitely does need to be set for sure. There is a little bit of settling into fine lines, but not major. It's not like I'm getting crazy creasing or anything like that, but there is a little bit. It definitely just needs to be set, and it just, I don't know, it just needs to be babied a little bit more. So that's one reason why it's not a top favorite, because I don't reach for it all the time. But is it a really good one? When I think in my mind of the concealers that are like some of the best out there, that I've tried at least for under eye circles, this one is up there. It's there with it, but it's just not one I reach for all the time, just because of those reasons I already said. So, but you know, I just felt like it was worth a mention, because not everybody has the same preference as I. You know, some people might want a more moisturizing, a more creamy concealer, whereas I want something a lot more dry, a lot, you know, more thin. This one's just so thick, and it just, yeah, those are my reasons, those are my preference, but I still felt it was really worthy of sharing. Again, this is the illumination, but I've also used the regular one, which I'm out of. I'm surprised that I'm out of it. I didn't realize I didn't have one, but I have used that. It is a really good concealer, especially for under eye circles and things like that, so definitely was worth a mention. So, all right, now I'm gonna take this all off and give my eyes a break for a little bit, because this was a journey for my eyeball. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Alright, and that is it for my top 7 favorite concealers for dark circles and under eye concealers. I'm a mess today, I apologize. I really hope you guys found this helpful and informative, especially with the demos and be able to see the product in action and see what I'm talking about as I talk about them. Let me know. I would love to know your favorite concealers. If you struggle with dark under eye circles, you know, which ones you like the best, which ones you would recommend. Are any of my favorites your favorites? Any of my favorites some you hate? Let me know. Let's discuss. But you know, obviously everybody has different preferences. I talked about the like lightweightness of a concealer versus like a heavier concealer. I talked about the dryness of a concealer versus a more moisturizing concealer. Obviously we have different preferences, and these ones are mine. So yeah, with that being said, I just thought I would quickly mention some of the concealers. There's only two that I really want to try that I've heard really great things about, and they are the ColourPop concealer. I forgot to look it up, so I don't know exactly what it is, but I'll insert a photo somewhere. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. And then the Makeup Revolution concealer. I feel like the Makeup Revolution concealer is one I want to try just because a lot of people keep saying it's like a dupe for Tarte Shape Tape. Some people will say it's not really a dupe, it just looks like a dupe because they're similar in packaging and things like that, and it's more affordable. But some people, you know, will say that it is exactly like Tarte Shape Tape. Some people say it's better than Tarte Shape Tape. Some people say it's not as good as Tarte Shape Tape, but either way, it's an affordable concealer that seems like it might be a really good one and might be comparable to Tarte Shape Tape. So I am very intrigued to try it. So I'm hoping to. So if you guys have tried it, I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Would you recommend it for me? And now that you know my preferences for a concealer, let me know your thoughts on that concealer. And then the ColourPop concealer, which I don't feel like I know a lot about, but I watch Raw Beauty Christy and I hear her talking about it and using it and recommending it a lot. So it's also a really affordable concealer, so that's kind of what piques my interest about it. So that's why I'm interested in trying that one. So I'd love to hear your opinions, your thoughts, your recommendations and things like that. And so let's be sure to discuss that in the comments section and share with me all that stuff. So with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, much love and hugs to you. Bye, beauty babes.